Hi friends, it's Brittany at Ink and Papyrus and welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited you're here with me today because I'm going to show you some of the incredible craft finds I got at my local thrift store, Gio Fund. We will also be talking about some project ideas, so stay tuned. You're going to love this. And not only is it a great place to shop, but Geo Fund is a no-kill animal welfare organization, and in selling these donated goods, they raise funds to provide shelter, food, and a lot of medical care for at-risk dogs in the greater Wilmington, North Carolina area. As if we needed another excuse to go on a thrift store haul, am I right?
As some of you may know, I have a soft spot in my heart for rescue dogs because I have one of my own. Say hi, Dale. You know, there's a misconception that dogs in the shelter are there because nobody wants them because they have something wrong with them. Look at this guy. He is perfect in every way. So you can take that myth and throw it right on out with the trash.
Truth be told, Dale was the greatest find of them all. So now that we have that settled, let's get on to the video.
And starting with one of my favorites, little golden books. I love it when I find these at a thrift store. And guys, I love making journals out of these. You can imagine how excited I was when I saw someone dropped off their entire little golden book collection. I have made journals from these before. Oftentimes I'll use the cover in its entirety as the journal cover. Oftentimes you'll find little golden books that are very aged and weathered. That's okay. You can rehab these covers. You can use maybe a little alcohol to take off any stickers you don't want. And then you can use a sanding block to kind of smooth out the edges, add some book corners. And then, you know, well, I mean, you're going to want a little golden book probably thicker than anyways for a journal. So you're just going to deconstruct this and then bind this back together with a wider piece of chipboard. And I will show you in just a second a little golden book journal that I made previously that had to do, I think it was called Little Home for Bunny. I did do a flip through on that if you're interested. I will link that above and in the description box. Oftentimes when I remake a cover out of a little golden book, I try and use, sometimes I will chop up the images and make journal cards or something else, but I usually try and honor the illustrated pages and kind of put them in the journal in their entirety. Like I will bind these pages into a signature page, but there are a whole lot of things you can do with these. Maybe I'll make a whole series of little golden book journals. This is adorable, and as you can see, they're different sizes. So they make different size journals. Like this is a perfect size for a little journal. I was thinking about using the cover of this to make I make memory books of my dog, like little scrapbooks of our adventures together. How cool would it be to make a little 101 Dalmatian memory book for him, huh? He's not a Dalmatian, but that's okay. This is still adorable. This one, aside from this peeling back, this looks to be in really good shape. You wouldn't have to do a whole lot with this cover, and it even has a little memento for whoever gave this to her. Maybe I'll use this I will transform this into a Christmas journal this year. Sugar plums. You can't beat these illustrations. These are absolutely precious. If you don't have a thrift store near you, you can go to, you know, those library events where they will practically be getting rid of books. You can try and look to see if you have something like that near where you live. I'm not a big Barbie fan, but I'm sure I could find something to do with this. Oh, so precious, right? Let me show you. Oh, I think I missed this one. Peter Pan, Tinkerbell, and the Pirates. So adorable. Oh, wow. This is precious. So let me show you the little golden book I transformed last year into a beautiful spring journal. Voila, here it is. As you can see, the cover needed a little bit of rehabbing. I added some book corners. There was some weathering here, so I put some little trim, some applique in between where the cardstock met the book. This is a brand new spine I've created, obviously. And the back of the book was so beat up, I covered it with fabric, and I think the fabric matches the theme of the book perfectly. Look at that tassel. So guys, you have options. You have options. Just because it's beat up and weathered doesn't mean you can't completely transform it. You definitely can. I could have probably done more with the closure, but you know, oh well. There's an altered puzzle piece, which I also love crafting from puzzles that I get at thrift stores. Guys, you can transform these as well. I'm not going to do a full flip through, but I just have to show you. See, I actually also found from a magazine the month and year just to kind of keep a record of when I created this. I used some of the original illustrations. I did a whole lot of things. This was, I think, an original illustration. And this is like the page in its entirety, used as a flip out because I didn't want to fold it on itself in the signature. So there are a whole lot of ways you can deal with really weathered covers, or deal with, you know, pages of different sizes, or pages that maybe you don't want to alter. You want to leave them in their entirety. Adorable, right? Oh, I love this so much. I could look at this all day, but we have places to go and things to see. This is another one of the pages. And I think I also, oh no, I fussy cut it out, the illustration, and made a background for him because he was just kind of on a white page. Oh my gosh. Okay, we gotta move along now. So I'm gonna set this aside, the back of the book, and let's look at a couple of other finds. So sometimes when you go to thrift stores, you find things you would never find otherwise, and that's why I love when I find these sewing patterns. These are perfect for cutting up and decoupaging. I actually think I have a journal card on my desk right now. Can show you as an example. Maybe, maybe not. Where'd you go? Okay, maybe not. I thought I did. Anyways, these create a perfect neutral background for doing just about anything too. Like absolutely precious. And it's so, when you make journal cards and different things that have little bits of the text, I think it's like, it's magic. I've made entire fashion themed layouts out of this. I decoupage this onto journal cards using Mod Podge. I use them in my journal layouts all the time. I just think it's a beautiful base for just about any project you can imagine. And I think maybe I will eventually, I'm a big fan of themed journals. I have never made a fashion related journal, but I have even the sewing packs, the prints that I have gone through. I've saved the packaging, of course, because I think I may want to do something with these at one point. Maybe fussy cut them out and make a journal out of them and put them on a cover, or I don't know, something like that. These, like, look at these fabulous ladies, right? Some of them are more modern. I personally really like the vintage ones a lot more. Let's see if I can find what year. I don't know where you would find that at. New Look Simplicity Pattern. I can't find the year, but this is obviously pretty old. You would see these kind of clothes anymore. She's wearing her big hoops and her, but like, look, adorable, right? So there's so many things you can do with these. And I've noticed actually the one that I just pulled out is definitely has a different feel. This is actually thicker. You may actually have more difficulty decoupaging. This isn't nearly as transparent. You can't actually see through this at all compared to this one. This is obviously very translucent. I think maybe instead of using this as tissue paper, you may want to use this to just use the text itself to like put on journal cards or create some kind of background with. This feels more like paper, like regular paper, as opposed to the tissue paper. It just depends on, I guess, the patterns that you pick up, and you never know until you get them And you know, I didn't pay $1 for these. I think I paid 25 cents, and for 25 cents, I am willing to take the gamble. So I think when I hit up the thrift store, somebody was getting rid of a lot of their Christmas stuff. And yes, I'm running out of room to store things. I probably shouldn't have gotten things that I probably will only craft with, you know, 9 months from now, but oh well. I love these cooking books. They make for great images. Actually, it's not quite a cooking. I mean, a lot of these are recipes. Christmas with Southern Living 1997. Somehow that feels just like yesterday and yet a million years ago. But look at these beautiful things. You know, maybe you don't want to use the entire image, but like imagine cropping this down. Actually, you know what this looks like? It could be this lampshade. Like a little festive holiday script for a paper doll. Or just cutting out the berries, like cropping. You could crop these down, the berries, and the holly and the berries. Crop these down and make faux stamps. You know what I mean? So if you don't like an image as its entirety, think of, I do this with magazines all the time, just think of how you could crop this down and transform it into something else, right? I'm trying to think of another example. Okay, let's say you don't like putting recipes in your stuff. Okay, well, like let's look at the cake. What could you make? We could use this as trim for something. And just rip this off right here. Use the little squigglies as trim. And we could use this as something else. The holly and the berries. We could cut out some gingerbread men. How cute would these look as like little paper buttons? Gingerbread men. It would be a lot of fussy cutting, but adorable nonetheless. I also saw this would look amazing as a button. You'd probably have to cut it off here, right? Because it's kind of cut off. And kind of remake the shape. These little patterns. Like, look at the stocking pattern. You could actually use this, you could cut out this pattern, right? And actually this is the perfect thickness to just add some fabric to and send it through your sewing machine. And use this as like cut off the excess and put this on a journal cover. Use this as a big, deep pocket. Okay, this Christmas Around the World book is one of my absolute favorites. I've gotten a couple of these before, and I love taking the pages out of these and just binding these into my journal signatures. It's so cool to kind of put in your journals what other people do around Christmas time. The traditions, the illustrations are absolutely beautiful. It has a very vintage feel. You could make a whole journal out of just traditions for Christmas around the world. Okay, and then last but not least, I picked up this cross stitch thing. I have, oh, maybe I'll use this in my spring journal. I just happened to turn to this page Easter. These are great I just like putting these in the journal. It just gives it a little bit of extra something. I don't cross stitch anything. I would not know where to start. However, the patterns are phenomenal. And I even thought about taking these patterns and kind of like watercoloring over top them. You may have to do a thin layer of some clear gesso. I'm not sure. I'm sure you could paint. The paper is kind of glossy. But if you don't like the black and white patterns themselves and you want to do a little color, you could watercolor over these. Or one of the other things that I did pick up is some acrylic paint pens. That was not planned, but what a phenomenal segue. These acrylic paint markers look a little bit old, but no doubt we can get some pigment out of them. Even though I'm not quite sure, how they'll work. There's no time like the present to find out, right? I'm gonna get a little paper here. I think you just hold down a little bit. Ooh, look at that pigment. Oh wow, beautiful. I bet this will take forever to dry, but nevertheless, absolutely beautiful. Oh, and it does bleed through a little bit, but that's okay. Absolutely beautiful. I picked up a couple more. This is all I brought over for the camera, but gold, brown, black, blue. I had some other nice brighter ones, but I was really excited to find this gold one. I love like putting some gold accents and stuff, and it looked like there was plenty of pigment in this, so you'll probably see me break this out and use in future projects. So thanks to plenty of other thrift store adventures, I have plenty of cards. They packaged their cards in a huge Ziploc bag. I got this whole Ziploc bag of cards for $2.50 plus a discount, because if you have your Gio card, you get a discount. But I wanted to show you guys, they usually come with plenty of cards, plenty of envelopes. You can craft with the envelopes, the cards. Sometimes I will bind cards directly into my journals, and sometimes I will fussy cut out parts of the illustrations themselves. Sometimes I'll just use the envelopes. There are so many things you can do with these, not to mention in case you don't order enough Christmas cards or whatever cards. It's great to have on hand in case you just need to send someone like a "I'm thinking of you" card. Oh, look how precious. Alright, so I just grabbed a pile of stuff on my desk. I actually found this ruler and this because, I mean, obviously I have a ruler, but it's so nice to be able to make lines and at different angles, and you know, there's a whole host of things that you can do with this. This is longer than the ruler I have, which is kind of why I really wanted to get it. Alright, kind of boring. Not boring. I found all of these happy planner stickers for like nothing. Now, are these normally stickers I would maybe use in my journals? I don't know, but I feel like I paid like $1 for these. And I actually do have a happy planner, so I could use these in my planner if I needed. Precious. Some of these do have sayings though that I might use. Okay, I'm probably not going to use a salon sticker, but self-care. Some of these could be prompts, cooking. Maybe I'll put that next to like a recipe. Celebrate, maybe next to a party. These are things that I would probably use more in like my 365 journal, I call it. I keep a journal of just day-to-day events. It's a less intimidating thing. It's not really frilly. It's not, this is adorable. I actually have a mermaid journal, so I know exactly where this is going. So these aren't necessarily things that I would use in my really nice frilly vintagey journals, but they could certainly be used in my day-to-day journal that I am less kind of stringent about. I kind of just let myself roll with it and put in there whatever I want, write in it a lot. It's kind of just a reflection of me as opposed to the more refined reflection of me that the rest of my journals are, I guess you would say. So yeah, I thought this was pretty cute. Here is the other. Now this I would definitely use in my travel journals. You could put these next to like pictures, and you don't have to go out and buy a pack of stickers. A lot of these you can create. These symbols you can create just by drawing and painting, and hopefully this will inspire some of you guys to get a travel journal together. Like, this is adorable. I would definitely use those texts on maybe to decorate some, pictures in some of my journal layouts, of course. Sometimes I'll make clusters and embellishments where I would definitely use these words. This, I love Snoopy so much. I think I will use the papers as scrap papers in here, and I may take this apart and make a journal out of it. It's going to be a little bit more tricky to deal with the spiral bound book. I would probably get rid of that, but I could put some, once I get rid of the spiral bound apparatus here, I could extend, make a thicker, wider journal with a piece of chipboard, and then bind that back together by sewing it, or tape, or tab binding, or what have you, and just put a little bit of applique over that to cover the holes. And you can easily do the same with other, style books that you have. And just a package of ocean, sky type stationery which I thought I would definitely also use in my journals. Okay, now let's talk about a couple of finds that really aren't quote-unquote craft related. Okay, I found this in the purse section. I don't know if you saw at the beginning of the video me rating the purse section, but these are only a couple of dollars, and let me tell you my plans with this. So first of all, you guys know I'm obsessed with the ocean. I thought about fussy cutting out that turtle, but I have better plans. I think I'm going to cut this off, this line right here, and I'm going to just take this fabric and sew it to chipboard to make the front and the back cover of an ocean themed journal. I'm working on a travel journal from my last trip to the Bahamas. I will probably cut out this text and just use it throughout the journal. And you have a front and a back. So you also have another beautiful, even larger patch of coral and fish and nice blue ocean water to create into to use on your journal cover or whatever else have you. Sometimes I like using the straps for to help kind of make the closure. This is really bulky. I probably will use this, maybe just not on this ocean themed journal. But look, like you could cut this off right here, and you can rework these a little bit to make the closure of a journal. You could even have your closure be a buckle, or you can get rid of the buckle and just, you know, put some string through this to like tie it together. There are a whole lot of options. I was also excited about this. I got this for also a couple of dollars. This is going to be considerably more difficult to take apart, but look at the beautiful flowers. You know, it's a little ratty. Somebody loved on this a lot and got some good use out of it. But that doesn't mean we can't transform this into something gorgeous. So again, I will probably take these straps off. Maybe I will use them as a closure. I was thinking about taking the straps off and then, you know, sewing like some of those fake fabric flowers to it. Maybe I'll paint the fabric flowers, maybe I won't. Maybe putting some brads through and then doing that all along this, and then basically sewing or tying some thread, because you obviously can't tie this into a knot, it's too thick, but you would wrap this covered in flowers around the journal, and then there would be two pieces of string tied here, and then you would take the string and tie it together to close the journal. Does that make sense? So I'm really excited. I think I might do a video on, and you could even use this as a pocket. Take this out and then sew it to somewhere in the journal, probably to the front of the cover, and then use that as a pocket. Maybe we will do a video on transforming a purse and gutting it, right? Because you can't just like let this go to waste, right? I'm really excited about this. The wheels are turning. Okay guys, we're down to the home stretch, so I just brought the whole darn bag over. I think this is the rest of it. As you probably saw in the preview, this is some little scrapbook someone started to make and maybe they gave up on it. It's very generic. Okay, I have never made a ring bound book. I think that I will take these off and use these as little mementos, use as little journaling spots. I absolutely love some of the print. I will definitely be using this in a travel journal. Here's a bunch of journaling cards already made up. Travel notes, very like steampunk, vintagey. I could definitely work that into a travel journal. But I just thought it was precious. I was like, oh my gosh, somebody started and gave up on it. They shouldn't have given up on it. Well, it's too late to tell them now, so we'll put this to good use in one of my journals. Okay, I don't even know what this is, but when I saw it, I knew I had to have it. Okay, talk about a gorgeous journal cover. I got this for $1. As you know, I am obsessed with the ocean. And this is like not a paint by color, but it is a beading or something that somebody did. The texture and the feel is absolutely spectacular. I am going to cut this apart, so it's just this, and I am going to find a way to glue this down to an ocean themed cover. You won't have to do a whole lot to it because it's absolutely beautiful the way it is. Once I get that down on the cover, I think I'm just going to put some, like, let's say here's the end of the journal cover here. I'll probably just put some lace or applique around it and add a closure, and this is going to be absolutely spectacular. Boy, do I have big plans for this. Doilies, of course. I love making things out of these. My gosh, I love incorporating them in page layouts. Some of them are very vintage and aged and have kind of like a cream colored look to them, which is so exciting. This is more sewing patterns, stockings, which again, I'm sure a lot of these, so you could cut these up and you wouldn't even be able to tell they're stockings, so no worries there. It's going to be used all year round. I found this painting. It says view of the East Coast. Oh, Barbados. This is of Barbados. I saw this and I would love to put this in a travel journal. I've never been. It's on the list. I'm sure it's a great dive destination. But I just saw this and I thought, who would get rid of this? This is so pretty. Maybe I'll hang it up in my office because it does, the palms and the water make me happy. Maybe I'll do that. Another beautiful card. Looks very old. I don't know what this is a view of, but it is spectacular. I found this map, Prague pocket map. Goes, again, amazing in a travel journal. I also haven't been to Prague either, but I am thinking about making this thing. I'm calling it armchair travel journal. I think I stole that from somebody else, but just don't know where. An armchair travel journal meaning pictures and facts about places and really cool things that you've never been, but it's essentially a giant lookbook of just places and you know, scenery and food and customs, traditions, things like that. And it really got me thinking because I subscribe to a couple of travel magazines and I could make an entire journal about it. So stay tuned. That's on the list of 1,000,001 things that I want to do. I found these brads. How adorable, right? I found some playing cards, which I am really excited. I love transforming playing cards. I don't have really small ones. I guess these are generic in size. You can use a couple of these in your journals as is. Maybe I'll make a Disney themed thing with all my happy planner stickers. But you can use the back. Like I probably will use keep this as is the teapot and the clock. But then some of the other ones, if you don't like, you can transform these into whatever you want by decoupaging them with all of our sewing patterns or whatever else you want and altering them. And I love altering playing cards. They're perfect. They're already cut down to the perfect size of, you know, a little journal snack, and you can alter them any which way you would like. And last but not least, I have this adorable card I had to pick up. She is precious. I will definitely put this in one of my spring journals, most likely. This is adorable. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I feel like I just won the junk journal making jackpot. Guys, don't forget, as fun as it is to buy new, sometimes the haul and the surprise of finding something you would never normally find on a store shelf can be the most fun of all. Even better if you can find a local thrift store near you that supports a cause you believe in. So guys, I hope this inspired you to go down to your local thrift store, check out what they may have, and to maybe look at things that aren't traditional craft supplies in a new light. If you enjoyed this and found value in this, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I can't wait to see you the next time.